Hi, besties. So, I love reading books, and honestly, it's half my personality. And I just can't seem to find people who love reading books in real life just as much as me or to the same level. And so, I decided why not make them online. So, welcome, besties. It's your girl Genesis, and welcome to my book world. Ignore the background, I'm just a beginner here. We don't have the financials to make it all aesthetic and pleasing. We will work with what we got. Okay, so this video is books I've read this month. Oh, I guess the last 3 to 4 months. Again, I am a busy girl, so making time for this is not as much as I'd like to be, but oh, it's okay. Number one is The Poison Daughter, and I rated it 4.3 stars. The book's up here, okay? I don't know. All I have to say is Harlow, the badass you are. I loved Harlow. My only issue is I felt like the ending was rushed. Like I feel like we spent so much time leading up to it because it was a lot of enemies to lovers, which is great. It was genuine, true enemies to lovers, which I loved, and it was also different aspect. I love the world building, the side character, like that was all great. My issue was after like they finally stopped is that a spoiler? My only issue is after they finally stopped basically lying to each other and doing all that stuff, the book was done. And I'm like, wait, I wanted to see them like live together as husband and wife, like lovingly. I don't know. I tried to add more lighting, so hopefully it's better. The second book is actually, it's from the Off the Eye series, and it's a sports romance series. And I read this in a point of the year where all I read was sports romances, hockey for the full month of May. And I stumbled upon Off the Eye series, and I read the first two books. I read Collide, which I rated 4.5 stars, so that's the second book I guess talking about. And honestly, I loved it more than I thought I would. I genuinely ate it up. I mean, obviously, I was in the mood for, hockey, but I did. I loved the two characters. I loved their storyline. It didn't feel like repetitive because I've read so many. It kind of felt a little bit unique, for me at least. And they just have a special place in my heart. I love the found family. Like, I love them down. I don't want to say too much and spoil anything. But then I read the second book, which is spoiler, Spiral. And this follows Ethan, I believe. Yeah, so now they're in the NHL, and he's struggling to score his first goal or something like that. I don't know what's going on. But yes. And he basically meets the FMC, whose name I forgot. Let me go find out. Her name's Aurora. Yes, I really love the found family, and I think that's one of my favorite things about this series is genuinely the found family and how they're all friends and how they're all interconnected, and then they pop up in each other's books. It's like I need to read the third book, which in the series, which is Revolve. So that's on my TBR, which will probably be in a video when I talk about my TBR books for the next month. Yes, it was amazing. I loved it. Like, need I say more? Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it there. Read it if you want, but yeah. Okay, the fourth book that I read in the last 3 to 4 months was the Bradva Bride, guys. Bear with me. I rated it 3 stars, and why did I rate it 3 stars, you might ask? Because it was like any other book. Like, genuinely, I forgot. I had to go back and look at my highlights to even remember what the book was about. And the plot was great, don't get me wrong. The plot was everything you'd ask for in a mafia romance. It had the two families must come together for some war purposes, mafia vibes, guns, everything you could really ask for or look for. But where it fell apart for me was the connection between the two main characters, and that's very important to me. Like, I need them to genuinely pull me in, say or do something that makes my heart clench, and they didn't do that for me. The girl, the FMC, she was a badass. She was funny. I loved her, but just their connection, it didn't do it. It just didn't do anything for me. So that's why I unfortunately gave it 3 stars. Um, yeah, the MMC, I can't even remember his name. I could if I went back, but I don't feel like it. So yeah. But let me start off by saying 3 stars does not mean it's a bad book by any means. I barely have any 1 star, 2 star reads because I don't finish books I don't like, because again, I read for fun. So I'm not gonna put myself through a book I'm not enjoying. So for me, 3 stars is an okay book. It was okay enough that I finished it. So yeah, so 3 stars is not bad by any choice. It's almost good, but it's fine. It's okay. Yeah. And at some point, I reread Twisted Emotions, which I guess is the 5th book in my list of books I read this past couple months, and I didn't know I read it when I picked it up. And it's so funny actually, so I have to say this. I picked it up again. I read it on my Kindle, but that's not the point. And I'm like, wow, this book feels so familiar. So like the first couple of chapters, I'm like, this feels so familiar. But I'm like, maybe I read the first few chapters and DNF'd it, because I do that a lot. So I was like, okay, maybe I just read the beginning and never finished it. So I finished the whole book. I'm like, so then I go to my Goodreads and I'm like, okay, I'm reading this 5 stars. I love it. Nino and Kiara are like, actually, Nino Falcone, if I'm saying his name right, is top 5 mafia boyfriends for me personally. Like that man is I would do anything for that man. I love that man. But yeah, I love their relationship. Now that their book is a book I would say focused more on their connection than the plot. Honestly, I wouldn't say anything really happened plot wise crazy, nothing too crazy, but I think most of the story was developing their connection and basically her working through her trauma without spoiling anything. So to me, and I love a good, like, I can enjoy a book with no plot as long as the characters I'm reading about are actually developing in some way, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, loved it so much, gave it 5 stars, reread it again, gave it 5 stars. It was just that good. And I will actually, if there's any book I would recommend anyone to read, it's that book. And if you don't like Nino and Kiara, imagine that's not her name and I said the wrong name. If you don't like them, then I'm sorry. We can't agree on anything, because I agree to disagree. They're so good. They're so good. The 6th book I read was Hate Mail. Okay, so I read Hate Mail. When did I read it? I don't know. But I read it as a palate cleanser, because I remember I read it when I'd been reading dark romance books for weeks. And when you read so many dark romance books consecutively, you need a palate cleanser, or at least I do, to just wipe the slate clean and start again. So yeah, I picked it up, and to me, I rated it 4 stars, and it just stood out to me. It really did. I think it was just different. I hadn't read anything like it before. You know, I've read past, present, but like the whole letters to me was, I just loved it. It was unique. I'm sure there's other books with letters, but I'm just saying, to me, it's the only book I've read with letters like that. So to me, I loved the whole aspect of like, they're genuinely saying mean, horrible things to each other, but you can't help but be like, oh, they're meant to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but I loved it. I ate it up. The FMC did, in the end, towards the end, the FMC was irritating me a little, but she came back from that. So it was great. I gave it 4 stars. Would recommend. Yeah. Okay, besties. The last book on my list is Unbound, and it's the 7th book. So this is a romantasy, and I rated it 4 stars, but I just want to start off by saying I am a little bit disappointed by this book, because when I picked it up, obviously I went in blind, thank God, but also when I was reading like the first couple chapters, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. There is, on Goodreads, if you do go like look at the book, obviously many people who don't like the book say it's like a copy of Fourth Wing, which yes, it kind of is. However, I didn't mind that. I don't mind if the book's repetitive. I read dark mafia romance books. They're basically a repetitive copy of each other. So to me, that's not an issue. As long as you do something between the characters to make it unique, I'm good. So I didn't mind the whole dragons and Fourth Wing vibe repeat. But what did disappoint me was somewhere along the way, they lost me. They lost me because I really did love the whole Avatar 4 elements, fourth wing vibe. I really did, and I wanted it to be a 5-star read book. But then it was, first of all, it was very long and it felt redundant. Like at some point I was like, oh my god, we've talked about this between the two characters. I'm like, we've been over this. Yes, we get it, we get it, we get it. You can't do this, you have secrets, blah 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 blah. So yeah, and I think that's where the 1 star went or died. It just became redundant, and some things weren't adding up between like the MC and his background that we don't really know too much about. Like it just, 1 + 1 wasn't equaling 2 at some point, you know. And I think if maybe we cut off 100 pages and just, you know, did some extra editing, you know, I think this could have been a 5-star read. But I really loved everything else. Like I loved the trials, like I loved everything else. So, you know, I know there's a second book, but I don't know if it's even out yet. Let me check. Okay, so the second book isn't out yet. It comes out next year in February. So I think I will read it because, again, I did really love the plot and world building in the first book, and hopefully like she looks at the reviews and, you know, kind of works on the characters and the redundant thoughts. Like, oh my god, I feel like, yes, this reminds me, the FMC should just go on and on in her head about repetitive conversations in her head. I'm like, girl, I know that happened because I watched the conversation. You don't need to repeat the conversation in your head again. Like, girl, like that could have cut out at least 150 pages. But yeah, other than that, it was a great book. I gave it 4 stars. Let me know what else you guys want me to do. Bye, besties.